The game as far, it's basically going to start here. So a lot of this right now, I have the audio off, so that's why you're not hearing anything. The basic idea is that we are they're essentially trying to take over the planet. Every faction is trying to take over the planet. Now, the game is called Endless Legend, which you can clearly see right now. And we'll try to get started. So, there's a lot for mods, which I'm sure that'll be interesting. Main thing to keep in mind is that in single player, if you do not have the DLC, for those who may be playing, or with we are doing a sorry. Eventually, we'll be doing an 8-man free-for-all, which we are going to be attempting to stream. If we can get the players to stream as well, that'd be interesting. See what we can do about that. But basically, it's an 8-man free-for-all. Everyone in it for themselves. Of course, we're probably going to run into a few alliances, things like that. We'll see how it all works out. But for now, let's go ahead and hop into the game. So there are this many factions when you have all the DLC. Without DLC, you do not have this one, the Draken, and the Mesmar are a freebie. If you have the collector's edition, they are essentially the vultures, but they look like that instead. That's the only difference. Also, if you kickstart them, you would also have the Mesmar. As stated before, they are just vultures, but looking like this. So, where should we start? Let's not look into battles just yet. So we're going to focus on economy and building up a city, and we're going to turn it random. I guess that's the best way to go here. So, going completely random, the settings for the game will most likely be the settings that we currently have. They pretty evenly balance out what we have going, so we'll leave it as is. The AI are set to difficult. They have a lot more buffs than we do. They gather more money, they do more things. It's, for the most part, they're cheating, you know. They do that in a lot of games like that. So, we'll see in a moment what race we have. I think we ended up with the Druid-like race, which you can see in the concept art right now. The splash art, I guess. They have big, tanky wooden units as well. But basically, they're like the ranger units. I'll admit, these guys I have not been particularly interested in, so I don't know all that much about them. So we'll focus on, as previously stated, economy, building your city, expanding, basic stuff like that. And we might touch on some of their unique traits once I actually figure out what they are. As far as I know, they could be the most powerful faction of all, and I just never use them. Though I think there's a debate that the Necrophage would be clearly the strongest faction, as the Necrophage are a group of insectoids who kill and spread like a plague for the most part. Personally, I prefer the Mesmars. They're essentially the Terrans, plus a little bit of Fallout included. The newest DLC does have an interesting group that comes into play. They have their own special gimmick, but they're not notably that much better. And I'm a little curious why it's taking so long, but it's getting there. It just looks, it's probably because they're generating the entire world, because it's set to one of the largest world settings, because it includes enough room for all 8 factions to be on the map. Clearly it would be faster if it was a smaller map, but generation always seems to take a little bit longer, doesn't it? Alright, loading terrain. The game should be starting up soon. Alright, I'm just going to bring up the Twitch chat over on the left here, so I don't forget about the existence of it. Uh-oh. Is it gonna work or not? Okay, something is, yeah, window capture showing up. go ahead and remove that. There we go. A little curious why that popped up, but alright. So, the first one we saw was a minor faction. This is a major faction. It would be a player or an AI. The minor faction also are AI controlled, just mind you. But the Draken are capable of negotiation. Their main specialty is using peaceful negotiation to obtain their victory. Typically, if you make a peace treaty with them, and they manage, their main goal is negotiation. Whether it's good or bad, you can actually convince neighboring factions to declare war on other factions. In a player-by-player concept, which is definitely a little harder. We are currently the roaming armies, the roving clans. The main benefit of the roaming clans is that they literally can just move around the map. They can pick up their cities and just continue moving. So there's definite benefit to that. But of course, finding a good location is very important. So let's get into the basics. We'll plant down, and then we'll let the get up and start moving. So this is how we plant down. Currently you have this. This is the settler. You can send out the settler in a direction. You have four spaces remaining to move. I don't want to go too far, since we don't actually see any good spots around. I want to avoid being completely stuck out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to have him move out in advance and take a look around. Okay, we found another minor faction called the Eyeless Ones. Now, if you assimilate them, they give you +5 happiness per one of their villages, which is over there. So that actually wouldn't be a bad thing. But a big benefit of the roaming clans is that they can keep moving. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and have them plant down on this titanium deposit to gather resources. Won't be able to get there until next turn, mind you, but it's something we can do. Planting down the first turn is not necessary, but is generally recommended. For the roaming clans, they definitely don't have to settle down at all. You can technically keep one city and just move around the map, though it's not the best way to go. Finding the best location is a big benefit for them. Well, for anyone really. So we just picked up 5 glass steel. So in tier 1 research, our primary resources are glass, steel, and titanium. And as we up in tiers of research, we'll access different materials. Alright, and with that, we planted on a city. I should have shown you how the tiles give you different benefits. These tiles give us food and production. The one that we planted on specifically was the titanium deposit. Now, in Civ, okay, sorry about that. The main thing is I'm doing this video to help explain to my friends what the game is, see if they're interested, because it's currently on sale for about $10 US. It may differ depending on your region, but yeah, I would be interested in the future. But right now I need to do this up and then have it ready for them. Alright, so now generally when we first start out, we want to make the foundry. For the first city you plant down, the foundry is rather beneficial. You can only be built once in your empire, but it is rather nice to have. Now the main reason we plant it down here is to gain access to the titanium deposit. I need to check my research. Do I have... I don't have it yet. So in order for us to begin extracting, we need the research for the alchemical furnace. Since our city is already planted down on top of it, we won't have to build the actual extractors. Our building will count as an extractor. But from there, I'm going to also grab production and these 2 tiers of research. This is generally what I recommend, but it's, you know, may not be best for everyone. Okay, so you can find the research bar here on the top left. With various options. You can choose as many as you like. You can also find a status window for your various stats here. Various cities, minor factions, I mean, sorry. Quest log. Your hero units. These are your bigger fighter units and whatnot. They're not necessarily all fighters. You can use them by placing them within cities to govern cities. Now, every city can be placed into an automatic setting, so the city will automatically do and act on its own. Tossing a hero in there will help improve it because certain heroes give certain benefits to the city. Here you can find your various units, armies, and things around the map. This is where we go to find negotiations. Here is a marketplace, accessible anywhere your hero unit is or anywhere where your city is. Basically, you know, trade routes. But it's not necessarily trade routes, but you can sell your items to this place for a market value, and then subsequently buy at a somewhat higher market value. But yeah, if you are rolling into resources, there's no reason why not to sell them off. Though if we have a full player set, you could probably trade with a different faction or another player, and probably get more out of it than the market value. Okay, so here's the quest. Once we place plan down our first city, a quest will appear. If you complete all the quests that were given to you by your faction, and every faction has their own sets of various quests and whatnot, generally based on what is best for that faction. So if we were to complete this quest and the subsequent chains of quests thereafter, we would, you know, reach a victory condition and win the game that way. So it is feasible to win just by doing these quests, though sometimes they can be rather difficult and sometimes impossible. So this one is not that far, so we just have to head over there and make peace with these guys. Making peace doesn't necessarily mean they actually join us. It also means pacifying them by wiping them off the map. Alright, so here is a thing that is slightly different. So we can move our population to do various jobs. Up here on the top right. There is food production, which means we increase the number of population we have, which is more of these guys to move around. They also, when you make a center, they expand one of these. So you can't make one right now because I only have 1 population. But my current increased food production of 4 per person, it would be in 2 turns I'll have another person. But I'm not going to worry about that. What I want is production, which increases the speed at which we make things. This is research, which of course you can understand, which is tech. This one is money, though in the game it's referred to as dust, and dust is technically, within the concept of this world, magic in a physical form. Yeah, magic power, mana, and whatnot. This is influence. Now, admittedly, this is kind of controversial, but they decided to make influence a form of resource. And the resource is necessary to speak with other factions and negotiate terms, peace treaties, trade routes, stuff like that. So you don't need it right off the bat, but let's say if you're a Draken, you might want a lot of influence right off the bat to be able to do certain things. My personal playstyle and the best way to go early game, if you're trying to build a good city right off the bat, is production. For me, I'm doing production mainly because the foundry is taking a little bit longer than I would like. He's still heading over there. It'll be a little while longer. I'm gonna try to stop him right there. That happens sometimes. So okay, so in similar to other games, you can walk up to various locations and examine them. We examined this, we got an item, or didn't get an item. Sometimes, a lot of the time you won't get an item, and that's just a bit of random chance. It's unfortunate, but can't always guarantee that you'll get something. So, as you can see right here, we have the option to buy out the foundry for 74 dust. I currently have 105, and I produce 2 per turn, which is shown over here somehow. I don't totally know how the calculations work out. A lot of our gold is going out. Once you hover, you can see that currently you get +3 from the city tiles, +22 from the palace, and -10 from the city upkeep. And the other expenses are being drawn out somewhere. As to the exact expenses, we can find them, bring them over here. Upkeep, improvements, and the palace and the city hall, all costing us a little bit of extra money. The city hall is literally the main building in the center. The palace is, I think, the fact that you're there. I'm not totally sure what the palace stands for. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and buy it out. Now, we should work on building something else. What is... okay. The Altar of Agria. Agria is the planet we're on. The Altar of Agria allows us to affect the weather. That is the most recent DLC. The altar can be accessed here. We need a resource referred to as pearls, which can only be acquired in winter, or if you're a certain race that allows you to find them throughout the year. So we can't do anything about that. The museum is a wonder. I guess that's the best way to go. It is a wonder. They show up every tier of research. They're shown here. That is the civilization builder, the production, the baron of industry, pragmatic scientist, the elder of Agria, and the last one is the inspiring commander. And then over here there is none in the last tier. Now, it is also a victory condition if you are able to get one of each tier. And of course, building a wonder is something guaranteed. The other ones are not as easy to acquire. Sometimes there are just combat ones, such as this one. These are all, the requirements are changed each game, so they can be different for every game we play. This one just requires us to destroy at least 10 armies in order to gain the reward. So we actually could do that if we just wandered around taking out our opponents. This one is be the first to activate 4 luxury resource boosters in order to gain the reward. The reward being emeralds, I guess. I can't say for sure what the actual reward for that one is. The reward for this one is you have a building that can only one exist within the world. And the building is rather nice to have. A lot of people will be rushing to make those right off the bat. Alright, we're going to go ahead and end our turn. Luckily we have AIs and no one's going to complain that I'm taking forever to do my actions. Alright, we're going to head over here and do up this quest that we were given. Okay, please come back when all villages are pacified. So, got one village here, one village here, and there might be more around the map. So we're going to go around and we're going to pacify them. Or fire, because that's simpler. Okay, we can't make anything just yet. To make a borough street, but we need more population, so let's move him over here. We're gonna get a person regardless, but I'm not moving over to reduce the production speed. Mostly because we don't have much to build, and there's no real reason for us to have too many combat units, because it will actually cost us later on. For every army unit roaming the map, it costs a little bit of upkeep. Now, we have the population we want. We're going back to production, and we're going to build a borough street. Now, what is good for us? We can grab research, we can also grab some of this. But what we should be doing is once that Burrow Street is done, we're going to do an ability that only the roaming clans have, and this is the Setski. This gets whatever this is. It pretty much allows us to move our entire city, Burrow Streets included, to a different location. And as we can see here, represented by these fan-like depictions on the map, these anomalies give us many benefits, which will be rather helpful. So we're going to pick up the entire city from over there and bring it over here. And since we're going to be taking this land over anyway, and pacifying these villages by killing everyone, or dying horribly, because I just realized these are Ursers, and Ursers are gigantic troll-like beings who can kick your butt very easily. Yeah, look at that. We have a hero unit, okay? A hero unit and 2 normal units. We have 2 normal units for them, and they just nearly trounced us. It's gonna be a little while before we can actually take them out, if that's what we have to deal with. So we want to proceed first, clearly, and get it done as quickly as possible. Alright. Okay, we're just gonna roam around the map. There might be more villages around, we might as well check for them. We can't fight them just yet. And we will heal over time. Certain factions cannot heal over time and require a cost of money or other resources to heal. Okay. So, we're still working the Burrow Street. It'll be done soon enough. Unfortunately, we might not get the titanium extractor done in time, because I want 5 titanium. If I move it over here, how long will research take us? So we can find how long it'll take for building. Okay, by moving the 2 people over, we find that the chemical furnace will be done in 1 turn. It's currently at 65%. We make 12 research per turn, and we currently used or have used 27.8 research. Okay, that is done. Well, not really. It'll be done soon. And from over here, we're just moving around the map. So just beyond us is a desert. Now, deserts aren't as bad as you might expect. Deserts have a large number of anomalies, and because of that, we run into a lot of beneficial effects to have. Generally speaking, what I would do is I would build adjacent to a desert, and then have my next expansion be in the desert in order to obtain the various resources. It's pretty much like it could be the best city possible, but it needs a lot of help at the start. Okay, I believe that's everything. We'll go ahead and turn. And that should be our research. Hopefully no one's built around us. So if you were listening, there was a bit of a sound of like wood being erected, or building something like a building being put up. That was the sound of someone building something. So there might be a faction nearby to us. Okay, the milling forge is being made. We don't need to worry about the milling forge. We have the chemical furnace, which means that if I'm correct, and I believe I am, the fact that our city is sitting on this this titanium means that we now have the titanium extractor just by having our city on top of it. Now this is something that at pretty much any faction can do by building their city on top of one, or building a Burrow Street, which is what's over here, or somewhere, which we're currently building, this thing right here. And by building that on top of one of the elements, which can only come from the main city, and it goes out in a line, or however you would like to make it, to get it to be an extractor. Okay, so we're going to move our people back to production. And we're going to hop over here. So, this little thing right here, which showed up, says that our hero unit has increased in level. It gains experience by combat, by exploring new lands, meaning you're clearing out the fog of war, and by governing a city, which means you can, if you want him to gain experience very slowly, you can have him just sit in a city. On terrain with anomalies. Reduce 10% odds, really nothing. Yeah, the likelihood of you getting nothing from the runes is rather high and rather annoying. So our main thing that I always go for is this inspiring leader. But the faction-based ones are also nice. So typical this way and then that way. Ending with the cold operator. So I'll grab this first. I don't plan to get the next tier of that for quite a while. I'm going to continue examining the area, because we need to take out all the Earthside villages to complete the quest. And I believe that might be the end of... Nope, it's not the end of territory. It ends over here. So we'll see for sure how many villages there are in the moment. Now, if we were to have a fight next to our main city, we would have some assistance from our militia. That comes from the city. So if you fight close enough to it, it will activate the militia, and when the combat activates, they will be present in the combat. Most likely when we do the actual 8-man free-for-all, we're going to turn off the option for combat. Now, that's not to say that we'd be peaceful the entire time. There will still fights be going on, but I'll show you when... It's the same way that when you saw me fight the village. It's like that. But there is an option to do actual, somewhat control the outcome of the battle, though the statistics would dictate otherwise. Okay, so we're gonna walk our way over here. I don't believe we're close enough, but we'll find out in a moment, and we might get ourselves creamed. Yeah, we were not close enough. So we're gonna go ahead and switch to spectator, so you can see what's happening in combat. Okay, so we have a very limited amount of control in the form of each unit can target another unit. You can choose which one of your units is targeting which. And that's actually where it stops. You can't move them around the map, you can't control them much beyond that. Hello, Voidwalker. You're currently playing Endless Legend. Basically, I'm setting up for a possible stream where I have me and 7 of my friends playing Endless Legend together. It's a game similar to Civ, and it can be fun, but clearly with Civ and a bunch of AIs on the map, you're better off with, you know, a full 8-man, 8 humans, preferably humans, because I don't want monkeys in the game. Humans playing the game all at once. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. Right now I'm making videos to help explain to various people who may be joining us. Okay, so right now we've taken out only one. So the spectating, it's not really going to change the outcome of the battle. You know, the odds of you winning are mostly dictated by the armies you have. If you have healing units, your odds are better. You have units that are flying, and while the opponent's units are melee, of course they deal less damage to flying units, and similar to that. So waiting for this town to be completed, and once it's done, a special ability of the Roman clans is to move up the city. We'll plop it down, let's say here or here, and the militia from the city will help us to take out these villages, and that will complete our quest. Right now we're still looking for players, so sometime next week, though we haven't decided on the exact day. Right now I have 4 out of 8 players set up, including myself, which means we still need 4 players. So we're currently asking various friends and members of interesting people to come join us. So we'll see how that works out. But once I know for sure, I'll send you a message if you'd like Voidwalker. Okay, so by next turn, the Borough Street will be done, and we will. It's not salt the earth. Okay, if we were to accidentally hit salt the earth, that destroys everything in the city, and that's mostly meant to avoid situations where an enemy army is walking in to take over your city, because if they defeat you and force you out of your city, they get your city. It becomes theirs. But you can salt the earth, and instead the city will be destroyed. But an option the Roman clans have is to literally pick up the city and just walk around the map with it. The city becomes an active unit and can participate in battles as well. Though it doesn't do that much damage. Alright, the grocery is done. We're going to go ahead and raise our city. It's going to take one more turn. And make sure it goes. And we're mostly just waiting for it to rise up, because we have to wait one turn for it to actually pick up and leave. Alright, so city now has become that thing. Is that an extractor? I'm not totally sure. Yeah, that's an extractor. So I'll be honest, I don't play these guys too much. Yeah, please do. I would very much appreciate that. So I don't typically play the Roman clans. They're not my preferred faction. But apparently, if you place your city on top of a resource, it will leave a extractor behind. It's actually kind of interesting. Also, I wonder if it will block other people from getting to the extractor. Alright, so we're going to move our city over here. It's one tile away from where I want it. But once it's planted down, we'll have access to a decent amount of things around us. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I was right. There is another faction just to the south of us over there. So, I'm not going to activate into combat, but we should be wary of them. And our city is about to go bankrupt. Okay, let's see. What can we do to fix that? Okay, unfortunately, men, you're going to be sold to slavery, and that's actually what... There's actual flavor text in the game that says that when you sell a unit, they're being sold into slavery. It's rather unfortunate, but it's either that or there's a chance that our city will be sold by accident. Okay. End turn. You have to move from there to... I want to move it here. Okay. So here's the spot where we're going to plant it down. It's going to give me a bunch of resources, and it is just really nice. Okay, move city to a new location, check. Planting it down. So with this, I have 18 food, which goes into making a higher population. Admittedly, only 9 production, but 9 production over what our previous location, which was 2 production, definitely a lot better. 20 research, 2 gold, and 20 happiness. Which is all very nice. And we'll plant it down, and we'll have a burrow street to expand with in a moment. The Happy Decamper is the burrow street that we made earlier. It is turned into this, and we have a good number of them as well. So, where are we expanding? I believe there are more anomalies to the left here, giving us more food and other things. Oh, they're both the same. Okay, well, it's not a bad thing. So we're going to go ahead and expand this way, and we'll reach out to the top left in a moment. Also can make a titanium extractor, which is nice. So the street, once it's been made and once it's part of your city, can be redeployed for 1 turn. Mainly 1 turn can be rather annoying, but it's just 1 turn. And essentially you have lost nothing in the process. While that is being done, what I would like to do is build a museum. The museum is a wonder, for the most part. And I want to put it here. Because the city, when you surround a wonder or another section of city with other tiles, it improves the level at that tile. So if we were to surround this main, city hall with other buildings, the city hall would improve and become a higher level. Okay, I'm gonna move everything to production. And the museum will take us 20 turns. That's actually not that bad, considering we are still early in the game right now. We'll be able to snag a wonder. Now, we're actually kind of short on offensive units, so fighting this minor faction may not be the best way to go. But as you can see, now that we placed down a city nearby, we have 3 militia, which they stay at full health, because when they die or are lowered in health, they are replaced with new ones. It makes fighting a lot easier. We can switch to auto and quickly finish these guys off. You know, we have one left over here, and we'll take care of that in a moment. She might be able to take care of it now. Nope, we cannot attack until next turn. Okay. So what we just made is the milling forge, which increases the production of our city. So it gives us 6 production on the city, and it gives us 15% more on the city. So the more production we have, having the milling forge made, it has to be constructed, will mean that we have 15% more production in total, which is rather nice. Which you can see here as the milling forge to be made. Now, the cost to buy it out shouldn't be absorbently high at 178. Yeah, 178. It's not necessarily worth it to do it though, so we're gonna hold off on that. And we'll take out this town. We lost another one of our main units. That is the thing. Like, the militia just come back, but those guys take time to heal. But we complete their main quest, which gives us 15 gold, which is a resource can be used to give us a benefit. It basically reduces the cost to upkeep a city because now we have more gold. Increases happiness. And Road of Dust. The ancient manuscript unveils the secret of the Endless, who use dust magic to reduce both the amount of friction generated by metal and their weight. Industrial goods last longer and require less fuel, and armies can skim faster across the land. Costing 55 to make. Increased production on the city. Increased movement. Can be equipped to hero only. That's good. Also, I have no idea where it is. Oh, that thing. So what you totally saw is that if you find something you want to look for, you have a quest, and you don't know where it is, hitting this button will take you there. Now, you can't have multiple quests, and if you hit show location on each of them, they will only show you the last one you click on. And just a heads up, I have run across that issue before. So the city will be built in 16 turns, it won't be too long. Admittedly, it would be faster if we had the milling forge, but the time relative to making the milling forge, and then the museum is actually not that bad. I just noticed that. So I'm going to go ahead and make the milling forge first, because due to the length of time in which the museum will take to be made, making the milling forge first means that the time to make the museum will actually be lower than the 3 turns it takes us to make the milling forge. It's just a bit of math. Alright. And over here, and we should be able to get something nice. So we've got the Road of Dust, which is an equipment piece that has to be made. Now, essentially, when we go somewhere, we get blueprints. We're not actually receiving the item. Okay, get a Wild Walker hero, equipped with them on the road, manuscripts, and assign them to a governed city. Okay, so we click on our hero, which we just did over there. We're attempting to equip this, but we don't have the money to make the item, because we have to make the item physically. It's not just there. So we have to wait a little bit longer until we have enough gold. So we'll send them out to have them quick peek around. Okay, there's another rune over here, so we'll go over there, examine it, and possibly get a little more gold. Alright. The hero and other units cannot be equipped with new gear unless they're in an area that you control. So let's see. Someone has reached Tier 2 research. There is a faction in the game that is almost solely built around the idea of just researching a lot, and it does give them major benefits. Though their early game, of course, is rather weak because of that. Okay, so once in a while the AI will attempt to negotiate. Obviously, with human players, they can just speak with you over Skype or other methods, but it will still cost you influence from both sides to make any real deals. And the influence are these purple-like stars here. Alright, we actually have enough dust now, so once we head back, we can at least equip the item. And Milling Forge will be done in 2 turns. It's a split between making the Milling Forge and not, but we're just going ahead and continue with our previous plan. So I think we're going to wrap up pretty soon, in a moment, and we'll take a look at a different faction in a moment after that. And I keep saying in the moment. Okay. So we're here, we head into here, we attempt to equip them with the quest item. Okay, it's been equipped, it's going to cost us 55 dust to make, and just hit apply, and he should be wearing it. Yeah, he is currently wearing it. Now, we can click unassign the hero from the army faction here. But, even if he wasn't, out there, he was somewhere else, and you didn't want to look for him for whatever reason, you can also just assign hero here. And he would just be taken from the army and brought here automatically. So in a situation where he's stuck so far away and he's gonna die, you can just have him unassigned to essentially disappear, or assign him somewhere else, and will just be brought there. Currently he's assigned there. Next turn we'll get the completion from the quest, and the Milling Forge will be done. And I might just hit end turn a couple times until the museum's done and you'll be able to see it show up on the map. Because the likelihood of you being able to make it yourself in a map filled with 7 other players is relatively low. Not to say that it's impossible, I'm just saying it'd be hard. Now, everything's in production. A civilian will be made in 2 turns. Let's see if we can pop it out in 1. There's some benefit to be made in getting 1 more person done. Alright, we have nothing else to research. I'll go ahead and add 1 more. But it's mostly just for flavor. So museum will be done in 7 turns. Alright. Even with me doing this at the most efficient way I can think of, it could be a while before we actually, it could be that an AI, or, within the concept of the game, another player will just take it before we get to it. Alright, come on. 6 turns. Like, I'll be honest, dude, I've played this game so much, and the AI just tends to, like, sweep it out from just underneath you, because some of them are able to walk up to your city, take a look around, and if they see what's going on, what you have, they can attempt to build faster than you as well. And winter has come. Now, winter has negative effects. Certain creatures will have beneficial effects for them because of winter. Those are definitely the newer one has some benefits in winter. For us, we are reduced in food production and a lot of things. See how we drastically dropped in the amount of food we produce. We barely make any. We make 2 food now. So it would take us 20 turns if we leave food that way for us to gain a new increased population. But as long as it's not in the red, we're fine. We're not losing money, which I'm actually a little surprised about. I've played this game, and typically whenever winter comes, I am always low on money. Alright. Come on. Research is going rather well. It just popped out a new one while I just sat here waiting. So, oh, actually, it's not done. Alright. It's still just a little bit off. Okay, now. It'll be one more turn. I activated a gold resource bonus, which can be seen here. Now the cost for us to use one of these bonuses is 10. I have 15 gold. I just used 10, so I have a reduce upkeep of the city. So the cost of the city is reduced by 50%. That will work on all cities, but of course will require more gold by a smaller amount. So if I had a second city, it would cost 5 more, meaning instead of 10, it would be 15. If I have 3 cities, it would be 20. If I had 4 cities, 25. And it's just like that. Alright, in one turn, it'll be done. Okay. Here we go. Like, I'll be honest, like, people, like, it's so hard to make one of these buildings. And it's gonna be really hard. Okay, there we go. And this is what shows up if you make it. But when someone else makes it, you'll also see a message saying someone else has made it. Congratulations, you are the first to complete the construction of the legendary building. No other empire can claim this stupendous feat. If you are in the process of making this thing, and someone else makes it first, you'll be refunded a amount of money and other things. You know, whatever you put into it, you get back a little bit. You don't get back all of it, mind you, but you get back a decent amount. And we gain the Museum of Arcadia. Wow, look at this. So many deeds were taken. Look, so I got this, someone got this, and this one is, you know, someone who's bound to get that at some point. So this is the museum, and as you can see in a moment, the actual effects it has. So, just having the museum means my people are happier, which happiness can be seen here. The happier a city is, the more benefits it will have. It's only at 95. Fervent, which is the max of 100, they will have a much better benefit. And of course, that higher tiers of research, you can make it so that Fervent or other forms of happiness get better benefits. So I gain increased gold when they're happy, and they're currently happy. I gain increased research when they're happy. I reduce reduction cost of empire approval. I don't know what that means. It's just a little bit of text for me. And then after that is the enchanted forest that we originally built the museum on. The total output from the tile is 1 production, 1 research, 20 happiness. But the building gives us 20 happiness already. But just imagine 20% more gold. That's actually a lot, especially when you stack it together with other benefits. And that's the first video. I'll make a couple more after this, but I think that explains a decent amount of just the buildings. I'll ask the various people who are going to be playing what they're interested in seeing about this game. So I will be back in let's say an hour, and I'll see you guys then.